comes together and they're like, hey, we're going to use this new cryptocurrency. We're all going to create it. We're going to own it together right at the very beginning. So imagine if you were part of the founding of Bitcoin, or really not the founding, but the initial few months of Bitcoin's launch. If you were kind of like early, you're running your own Bitcoin, mining rig at that point in time and validating for the network, you'd be, you know, like that's the opportunity for new communities to get together at this point, create their own cryptocurrency, imbue it with value, make it a really useful cryptocurrency that you can use while you're tipping somebody. Let's say you're in a clubhouse and there's creators doing some amazing work. You want to tip them. How do you create a new currency that a whole community could come together and get involved with, own at the very beginning, and create value together as a community? That's kind of the the value of Rally. And I think the opportunity, really not just Rally, but any of these, a lot of the other great entrepreneurs here that are kind of building new tools for the space. And just real quick, we have a creator, that Susie, you made a really great point, which is we have a creator named Ali Straza. She's a professional Hearthstone player. And so she streams on Twitch and she does well. She does like low six figures in terms of income. And in crypto, she's now making almost $10,000 just in the last month, through crypto. And so she's using this coin to have people play in a new Hearthstone tournament, and she uses it to tip her moderators and people who are helping out her community, editing her YouTube videos. So she's doing all sorts of things where she's giving back to her community and paying her community in cryptocurrency, especially because she has a lot of fans that are outside the US. And so it's a great way to use cryptocurrency to connect and reward and pay fans and pay people who are contributing to her community. So it's just we're all figuring out how to use this stuff together. But the important part is it's a way to kind of create a new community currency together that everyone contributes and earns and participates as the network grows in value.
No, we're super, super, super excited about the possibilities and also how Rally can continue to help funnel the next generation of crypto for not only our communities but our networks, as we continue to think about ways in which we can leverage the blockchain and decentralized currency to really make more high quality experiences for not only our fans but just the broader ecosystem as well. So really quickly, I think just kind of, because I know it's about to leave in a minute, somebody who I want to really just tee up real quick is who's really been behind the scenes super instrumental in terms of helping bring the early adopters of crypto into the ecosystem. I know, like, for example, like with Rich Kleiman and Kevin Durant were super early in terms of working with Coinbase and creating the buzz back 2014, 2015, and the guy behind the scenes that was really helping make this happen was my man Fred, who's the co-founder of Coinbase, and so he actually happens to be in the building tonight. And so I just wanted to say what's up to Fred, and maybe if you have a few things just to kind of share to the community, because you've been doing this before it was a big deal.
Hey, by the way, Fred, this is Delane. Before you get started, it'd be really good to hear about Coinbase in the early days, what led to the origin to start the company as well.
We'll share that. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, well, I guess first it's kind of just remarkable to listen to this conversation for the last hour. You asked about the start of Coinbase. It would literally, Bitcoin 10 years ago, I bought my first Bitcoin in 2010 or 2011 at $6. And it was a bunch of nerds on the internet, and 80% of them were totally nuts. So to see a room with this level of talent, intelligence, and interest 10 years later is pretty surreal.
Appreciate that, Fred. By your profile pic, you look like that guy.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Shout out to the illustrator.
He's that guy.
I don't
That
look
is that guy.
unfortunately.
Hey, look, hey Fred, let
Fred
me tell you
is
this. Look, a lot of you guys are like extremely successful, and I hang around a lot of extremely successful people, and you guys love to be humble about your success. But where I come from, I come from poverty. When we hear people explain the way they gained their success and how they traveled through and navigated through adversity, or however they got their success, it's like a motivation to us. It's an inspiration. So I always try to communicate that people. So like, if you could just lay out, and you don't have to lay out your personal business, but like who you are and how did you become the person you are today?
Yeah, man. Well, in high school, I was like definitely not the cool kid. I played way too many video games. I was on the best team in the world at a video game. That was kind of my life. Out of school, I'm kind of a radical insider in the financial community, in the sense that I worked at Goldman Sachs out of college, and it was very bizarre because I saw kind of firsthand how a small group of people could control an entire financial system, and that just didn't seem quite right to me. I think there was a really powerful point made earlier by Isaiah, which is at some point when existing systems get too powerful, whether it's banks or whether it's record labels or otherwise, they go from enabling to exploitive. And I think that's one really powerful thing about crypto, and a huge motivator for why I've been working on it for 10 years now, is I think it's a powerful new technology, like many in the past, where it allows anybody to kind of create anything they can dream of. I think that starts with money. We're now seeing in this whole DeFi movement that it means creating a whole new financial system from the ground up. And in the future, I think it's the future of internet applications too. So
what do you
that's kind of my
break that
story. I
down?
mean,
Break
So
that down real
Fred,
quick. Yeah.
all right.
Yeah.
Also,
All
Break
right,
Fred, I think
I'll break the 3 stages down real
break
quick.
it break it down. Break it down.
Fred,
Yeah.
crypto media is probably important for these folks too.
appreciate it, Fred.
Yeah,
We
man.
need it.
Okay. So crypto in 3 stages. Stage 1 is a new digital money. That's the thing that has been going on for the last 10 years. Bitcoin has gone from $0 in market capitalization to 600 billion. That's pretty clearly working, at least on some level.
Hey, Fred, what does market capitalization mean?
Sorry, the total value of all Bitcoin outstanding. Yeah, you got so
Got
that and that's the thing I think most people are paying attention to today. And even that phenomenon, I think we're only like 10% into what that could be one day. The extreme view would be that cryptocurrency will just be kind of the standard global money. And in retrospect, in 20 years, it will just seem blatantly obvious that, of course, the winning money or the dominant money in the world will be internet native and global by nature. Like, it will seem crazy, perhaps, that there was a fragmented market of gold and government money.
What
Like,
is a
why would
fragment?
that be?
Hey, Fred, what does a fragmented market mean?
Thank you, Crystal. Thank you for bringing me back to earth. Um,
Hey, Fred,
fragmented, it's
some of
kind of
us
like,
ain't look. Me myself, I ain't go past the 11th grade, so some of the stuff sound like you talking hood. Like if I was in the hood talking, you wouldn't understand a word I'm saying. And like your world is like the opposite to me. So like just on a preschool level, because I know it's a lot of people listening that really, really want to learn it, and I know you could really give a lot of game right now. So it's just like breaking it down to them in the simplest way.
And I also
yeah,
think what's just important for all of us to just like, especially as we're building out these rooms and doing all these things, is like language builds trust, right? So if you speak to me, that's one of the ways that people primarily connect with one another. So for instance, lawyers connect by being able to speak legalese, right? So, or if you're from a Latin community, you do it because you can speak Spanish. So that just connects people. So we just want to find a language where we can all connect.
yeah.
Love that, Crystal.
Absolutely. I mean, one of the funny things I observed at Goldman is everybody who works in finance uses a lot of jargon that's totally unnecessary. In some ways, I think just to make it hard for other people to understand what they do.
I agree. Like my motto in life is that smart people
too.
make things hard. Dumb people make things hard, and smart people make things simple.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We've banned acronyms at our company.
That's a good one.
All right, but I think we were at market capitalization. Is that where we were at?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe going back. So, 3 stages of cryptocurrency. The first is it's just the new digital money for the world. And the point there is over the last 10 years, crypto has gone from $0 in value to about $600 billion in value. And in technology, that's what you would call clear product market fit. There's a lot of people who clearly want the product, at least so far, that cryptocurrencies are offering, which is a new way, it's a new digital money. And the biggest thing people use that for today is storing their value. So instead of shoving cash under a mattress or buying gold or whatever it might be, they might be buying a small amount of cryptocurrency.
So that would be
And
where
that's
you
still
would
really
put
risky.
that. So just for clarification, Fred, so that would be where you would put that in your hard wallet and hide it in a safe so people can't hack you and take all your shit?
That's definitely one way to do it. I'm obviously super biased because I started Coinbase, so I tend to think it's pretty secure. But yeah, I think that's good too. Yeah, but that's exactly right. The second kind of stage, that's stage 1. I think that will take, by the way, like a phenomenon that people are really not used to seeing and almost nobody sees in their lifetime is a new form of money coming into existence. Like nobody on this call, unless you come from a country like Venezuela, for example, or Argentina, where a currency has gone through a huge crisis, probably has seen a new money come into existence. It's a really alien concept. But I think that's what we're witnessing with cryptocurrency today.
And culture currency.
Well, that
All right.
comes. That's stage 3. That comes later.
Okay, so that's stage 1.
Go ahead,
So
Troy.
basically, stage 1 is the
Soon.
digital money that we need to lock in a safe so people can't take it from us. What's phase 2? People can't.
Phase 2 is the creation of a new financial system. So one thing I think that's really interesting in technology is you've seen technologies come and start to disrupt these highly, highly entrenched industries. And what I mean by entrenched is the big players in the industry are really hard to remove. They kind of have a stranglehold on it. We saw that, for example, with Uber and the taxi industry. At one point, the city said who got taxi medallions, who didn't. As a result, there was just no innovation in the taxi industry. And the prices were also probably too high because they could just control the whole market. Nobody could create anything, just innovation stopped. And that means the product for people is probably worse. Anyway, coming back to finance, the same thing has kind of happened in finance. At this point, there are only a couple big banks who can generally create new products, and they kind of control the whole market. It's kind of equivalent to what happened in the media, actually. There was a point in time in which only a couple TV stations existed and only a couple big papers existed, and they controlled what everybody read and what everybody watched.
Damn.
Then the internet
So
came
it's like,
along and
so that's basically
Programming.
like cornering the market, right? Or like a monopoly.
yeah,
on the
exactly.
market. Okay.
So, and then what happened? The internet came along, and before you know it, anybody can publish their own blog. Anybody can distribute their music. Anybody can create their own video on YouTube, etc. You have this huge boom of innovation. I think basically the same thing is happening in financial services on top of crypto. It's called DeFi right now. It's kind of a cute name that I think hides the potential power of what's going on, which is it's a ground up rebuild of the financial system built on top of crypto. And it's kind of crazy because you have anybody on the internet who's able to create in that new financial system in the same way that anybody can create a new website on the internet.
And that's
That
DEFI, not DEFY, decentralized finance.
Mhm.
right.
But when you talk about that anybody can build their own, I mean, basically what Ethereum and what Bitcoin and what cryptocurrency and a lot of companies that are building is that for the first time, you have a supercomputer that is built on top of the internet versus having to build on top of an AWS or, previous cloud servers. And so, how do you think about future companies and future industries that will now be built on decentralized networks?
So that's the third stage. Again, phase one, there's just a new digital money. Phase two, there's a new financial system
So I have a
that's being
question
built.
really quick before you get to 3, Fred, about the
Yeah.
financial system. So when we're talking about like this financial system, I don't know why every time you say it, 2 Chainz, let's play big bank, take little bank, keep coming to my mind, but I'm like flipping it where it's like little bank, take big bank.
That's great.
That's what he was
So
saying. That if you go on genius.com, that's what it really meant.
yeah, so it's like, but now it's like little bank, take big bank. So with that being said, when we're talking about like disrupting that financial system, normally we have to go through the banking system in order to like kind of exchange money. So what you're saying is that with this new technology, we now no longer kind of, unless the banking system buys in the way that I guess the technology would require it to, we would no longer really need the banking system because we would be able to exchange person to person. Please correct me if I'm wrong.
No, you're 100% right. The way a lot of people refer to that is you can be your own bank. You no longer need an intermediary. You can just own your own money and use it as you wish without needing a bank or other financial intermediaries, which is a powerful idea.
Wow, that's huge.
Yeah.
Let that sink in for a minute, everybody. You could be your own bank. That's all I'm saying. We could go on
Troy,
to
I
page
believe you
3
had a
now,
question.
Fred.
Troy, I believe you had a question.
Yeah, and where does regulation come into play, both domestic and globally, and like sort of what's your forecast on it?
I think regulation may be the single biggest question for crypto. So it's a really good one. We watched the internet go through this cycle. I don't know if y'all remember, there was a point in which encryption was considered military grade technology that was illegal for a normal citizen to use. And just to show how potentially strange that is in retrospect, encryption is the thing that lets you safely put in your credit card on the internet to make a purchase, or safely connect to Gmail so you can send an email securely.
So why would they?
I think the point here basically is with any new technology that's powerful, it can be used for good and for bad. At the beginning of a new technology, it's always kind of scary because it's hard to predict. And oftentimes at the beginning of new technology, it's the bad actors who have to adopt a new technology because it's their only option. This is kind of true at the beginning of crypto. If people remember the Silk Road, which was kind of a drug marketplace, that was kind of the big headline in 2013 with Bitcoin. I think today that's that clearly is far and away the minority of activity, and there's actually good data that shows that there's more illegal activity that runs through normal banks than crypto. Getting back just to regulation in general, I think most governments around the world are trying to figure out what they think of it and how to deal with it. My hope is that they see that this is basically the new internet, and that smothering it would be a huge mistake. Although, of course, with any new technology, there will be good and bad things done with it. But I think we're in a period of uncertainty in that right now, especially in the United States.
Fred, I have a question. So like how with regular banks, our money, like the dollar or whatever we have in our bank accounts, there's a certain amount that's protected by the FDIC. So that they say, hey, if there's something goes to shit with your what?
250,000.
Okay, so 250,000. So $250,000 of my money goes to shit. Basically, they'll figure out how to get me my money back. How does that work now with Bitcoin?
The short answer is that it's not there. It's early in the new technology. The thing that you do see in its place is a lot of the reputable crypto companies have private insurance that might not have those exact same limits, but attempts to act in a similar way.
Can I ask a question? Have any of y'all ever heard of a loan? Like what islanders do? Like, is anyone ever heard of that?
Sorry, a what?
A loan?
Oh, like a partner. In Jamaica, we call them partners. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, can you? So, is it possible to do a partner within Bitcoin? Like, how does it work? Because somebody been telling me about it, and it's like kind of like a self-banking system, kind of like a neighborhood self-banking system, isn't it, Crystal?
Maybe you guys could give us an equivalent to it.
Did you say a loan at the beginning?
Well, the way that a partner works is like, for instance, say 10 of us wanted to go in and put in money, right? All 10 of us would put in $100. So if 10 of us put in $100, 1 week, Kev would get all the money from the $100. Then he would put in another $100. And then the next week, Delane would get all of the money from the $100. And so it's like you're kind of regulating it by everybody keeps continuing to put in money. So the money is able to change hands between people. So what Meek is asking, is there a way for us to do that in Bitcoin?
That's also referred to as a susu, by the way.
Yeah, we call it a susu in Africa.
Yeah.
I know about that.
Yeah, and we actually have been working on because a lot of people who actually find out about Guapcoin and find out about crypto in our community are the ones who come in through Susus, because Susus got very popular recently on Telegram. And Telegram is one of the main outlets for crypto in terms of communication. So that was actually a good thing. So thousands of people came in through Susus recently from the community and have made the jump from Susus to crypto via Telegram.
Yeah, to answer your question, it is a possible way to do that. You just got to find the right group of people that you trust, because basically everybody, when it's their week or when it's their turn or when it's their day to put up the money, you just have to grab each and everybody's money and put it up. And basically, when, let's say, if you do a bi-weekly basis, that person, so for instance, if it's your week, Meek, right, to get paid out, you just got to make sure it gets paid out. With Bitcoin going up and down, it'll be different payouts, right? So, you know, one minute Bitcoin is at 35,000, next minute Bitcoin is at 40,000, right? Whatever it is, so it'll be different payouts. But with Bitcoin, I think we in it for the long term. I don't think a lot of people want to get rid of their Bitcoin. So in the new cryptocurrency coin, I think it's easier to do it because it's so cheap to buy into it. I think with Bitcoin, you would have a little bit difficulty if people want to just sell one coin and the other person wants to hold it. So I think just finding the right group of people.
I'm gonna go ahead and say the opposing opinion and say I actually don't think it's a good idea, and that's off of my own bitter experiences of being burnt by a susu and a partner. So.
Well, that's why blockchain is actually very good for it, because blockchain is transparent. You won't have to have a person that allocates the funds. These are dApps that can be written, or dApps are called decentralized applications that can be written on top of the blockchain that can take advantage of the transparency and the consensus built in the blockchain to actually distribute the funds. It'll eliminate the people. It also eliminates the stories of what happened to the money or
Hold on.
whatever.
Before Fred,
Follow
can you
that.
break down what you just said in a simple way about the blockchains and why it could?
Well, she's making a powerful point, which is that one way to think about things like Bitcoin and Ethereum is that it's programmable money. You can write little programs that automatically do stuff with money. So, Meek, for the idea you're talking about, if you wanted to reliably pay a rotating group of people, then you could just write a little program that made sure that that happened instead of trusting that people would actually distribute the money correctly. So this is why crypto is kind of powerful. It has less trust embedded in it.
So based off of what you're saying, Fred, and off of what you're saying, Guap, is pretty much it would almost be like having a bank teller built within the program that makes sure everybody gets their money once that's already agreed on.
Essentially, an immutable contract could be written, whether in Solidity, which is a smart contract language, a contract could be written to officiate that. They're actually doing something similar. They have some programs out there. I know some people were involved with Forsage and other stuff like